Well, I figure we need to start the year off with a garden tour. Hey guys, and welcome to the garden. Thank you so much for joining me today here on Horticulture Geek. If this is your first time finding my channel, welcome. If you're one of my subscribers that's been with me for a while, welcome back. I wanted to start off this growing year with a tour of the garden. As you can see behind me, little sneak peeks there. The garden is not looking stellar right now, so there's a lot of gardeners that have this problem. I am working on adding some winter interest. You'll see some of that in just a second. But right now, all the perennials have not come up yet. I haven't got any annuals in the ground yet. So what you see is what you get right here. So this is real life, hard truth. And I want you to see it because I think it's a good thing to see as a reference point as we do monthly garden tours going through the season, so you can really see how things change and progress and grow, and what additions are made and all that stuff. But I also think it's good for you to see that I don't have a showplace garden, and I never claimed to have a showplace garden. And so right now, I mean, it's not terrible, but there's a lot to still be done. I have 6 or 7 projects in the works. Haven't finished any of them yet. Some of which you know about, some of which you don't. So we'll talk about all that kind of stuff as we walk around. So right now, just sit back, relax. I'm gonna flip the camera around and let's just start looking at the garden. All right, so we're just gonna start the tour right here. And you can see I just got my fresh pea gravel put down. Now, if you remember a couple months ago, I used to have a sprinkler head, a traditional sprinkler head right here. And as my redoing my sprinkler system video number 2, I converted that traditional spraying sprinkler head to a drip head, and I moved it back behind all my pots. So that is now ready to go. I just have to run the spaghetti tubing to the bushes and up to the pots and everything where I want that to go. But I got a fresh layer of pea gravel down. I have this area looking pretty nice. This pot got hit really hard during our winter storm. We had over a foot of snow on the ground for a week. And it killed my Dracaena spike, I think, but I may have to replace that. But this pot is going to need some attention. I normally have a Boston fern there, so it will be empty until I pick one of those up. Now we can just kind of move around. I have yet to uncover water fountains, so water features are still covered up. This hydrangea still needs to be pruned a little bit, but I did get a fertilizer on him, so he's good to go. I mean, so this is real life, guys. You can see my patio furniture is a wreck. I haven't got out here with Windex and cleaned the glass tops or anything like that. The pool is still covered, so we haven't dealt with that yet. It's still a little early. So this bed, as you can see, is empty right now, and that's because I typically have this as annuals, and this year I'm going to be doing a ring of impatiens backed by a ring of caladiums. I've got hostas all through here that have not come up yet, so they will be peeking up here pretty soon. Here's our tea plant, our camellia, that we use to make tea with. Hydrangeas here, holly ferns here. So you can see I still have to clean this bed up. But I left this through the winter because these leaves help protect the crowns of these plants. And with the cold snap that we just went through and the amount of snow we just went through, I was super glad that I did decide to leave all this leaf litter on the ground to, again, help protect the crowns of those plants. But you can see, if I zoom in here, I've got buds, they're swelling, so the hydrangeas are getting ready to pop. Now this is new. If you have been with me for a while, I used to have a gigantic trumpet vine here in this corner, and that has been cut out. That's stump I couldn't really get out, and then there's a stump still on the ground. And I've got to dig that up, and I have purchased a Zephyrine Druin rose to go in its place. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited about having that. I just picked up this guy right here. Look at how pretty this is. The smell is wonderful. This is a Pieris. It's from the Southern Living Plant Collection. And this is a Pieris Mountain Snow. Shade to part shade, 3 to 4 feet high and 2 to 3 feet wide. So, and it gives off a fragrance. These smell really pretty. So I thought he would be nice tucked in back here in the shade garden, because I am working on the shade garden this season as well. A couple of containers. Rose bush here that has been pruned. I did not bring it down very much. I tend to like this one to be big, but as you can see, I have cleaned it out. Here is some tulips. These are intended for cutting as soon as they get big enough so we can do flowers in the house with tulips. That's a blueberry pot there. Here's our plum tree that we transplanted here in the fall. And you can see perennials are starting to peak up and make their way into the world for the season. So before long, this bed will just be full and lush. I've got a new evergreen here that's going to be going in. And this is the Italian cypress. I wanted something tall and skinny because I have so many plants here and so many things. I had originally talked about taking out the dwarf nandinas, but over the winter, I just decided that I really do like the pop of red in the winter garden. So I decided I didn't want to take out the dwarf nandinas. And I had already purchased some plants to go back here in their place, but I decided that instead of putting those out here, I would just kind of put this in and leave that too. So I wanted skinny so that it wouldn't encroach too much on the rest of the plants and things that are going on here. That's a peony right there that'll come up. I've got pea gravel here. I've got to go get some more, and you can see this whole area has got to be dealt with. It's one of those things. I tend to be a lazy gardener in the winter, and I fully admit it. I can own up to it. And so I just let little things go over the winter because it was my rest and break as well. But now, as you can see, I've really got to get in here. I've got to get these weeds cleared. I've got to get this area cleaned up and get some fresh pea gravel on the ground under the swing. Here's our other Italian cypress that'll tuck in back here behind this peony and next to this dwarf nandina. Irises, obviously. Some more tulips coming up. These are just regular tulips for the garden. Here's a sedum, autumn joy coming up right there. Perennial geraniums, lamb's ear, ornamental onions. Again, my water fountain is not out yet. Daffodils are fixing to pop. This pot just has ivy in it right now. I will put annuals in there with the ivy. Here's another project. You can see I'm removing my old landscape lighting. It quit working on me, and a rabbit has chewed through some of the stuff, and the box at this point it's a 6 or 7 year old box, and it's done. So I'm pulling that whole system out. Maybe we'll replace it this year, maybe not. But in the meantime, I've got to pull out all the old and just get it out of the way. Bird bath still upside down for the winter time. This foxglove I just planted. I picked him up. They can handle the cool, and I wanted to get a jump start and hopefully get some pretty foxglove blooms out here this year. And I got another one right there that I popped in. You can see some winter burn on these. These have started to sprout and grow, and that cold snow kind of burned them a little bit, but we'll see how they do. This rose I have not cleaned up yet. I've still got to get to him, but that will be fine. Typically anywhere from Valentine's Day to the middle of March is when you want to do your roses, before they really start growing. So I'm running out of time on this guy, so hopefully I will get to him one day this week. Some more little daffodils popping there. Another pot of tulips getting ready to come out. Lavender. Oh, there's a pool toy randomly. So lavender getting ready right here. And this lavender was looking a lot better than this. It got burned right through here as well under the snow. But this right here looks pretty good still, so hopefully it still blooms. This poor little guy took a beating with the snow as well. And this is a double mint gardenia that I planted in the fall. So I'm hoping that he'll bounce back from his winter burn. He should. Here's a blueberry. And this blueberry is looking wonderful. It is covered with buds. I mean, it's just getting ready to explode and put on its summer glory for us. All right, some vegetable beds. So here I've got onions planted. And here I did get this section of the bed prepped and ready to go. And I've got kales, cabbages, broccolis to go in there. I've pre-seeded. If you watch my seed starting video, I've got baby bok choy and sweet peas to plant as well. And all these things are going to be going here this week. These will be in the ground this week, maybe tonight after this video. This little area is starting to pop out, you can see, and the big purple pot with a rose bush in it. And here's the Zephyrine Druin rose. Let me walk around here. I'm so excited for this rose to go in that back corner I was telling you about. So it's a Zephyrine Druin. It can handle a shady situation. It's labeled full sun, but they can handle some shade. So I think it will do well back there, and they are very fragrant. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, more daffodils popping. On this bed, you can see that hydrangea is budded up and ready to go. Elephant ears will flush out here, and that's just a wheelbarrow that I'll plant annuals in. I've got pansies in them now, and they're doing okay, but they didn't really grow very much but they might put on some growth before it's time to pull them out. We've got a big project going on here with the big raised vegetable bed. As you can see, I had to replace the front. I have pointed that out in another video. And I am in the process of running drip irrigation to this bed. So that will be in another irrigation video coming up. And I'm in the process of digging out these beds since I had to rebuild the front. I had a big problem last year with critters burrowing up into my vegetable beds and eating my plants and my crops from the roots up. So I am protecting the crops this year, but that'll be another video. And this whole bed will be a video to show you guys that project. And then down here in front of the potting shed, these pots took a beating during the cold snap as well, but I'm hoping that we will get some flush back and get those cleaned up. So that is kind of the garden in a nutshell right now, at least the bulk of it. It's a really trafficy time right now, so we won't go into the front yard and look at it. But I think this is gonna give you a good idea. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed that quick walk around the garden. And like I said, I just wanted to use it as a introductory garden tour for the 2021 growing season. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed seeing kind of the mess that my garden is in right now. I know a lot of people, especially new gardeners, have this false concept that gardens should be beautiful, and lush all year round. And that is definitely a goal to work towards, but that is not something that you can achieve overnight or within your first year of gardening most times if you're working on a reasonable budget. When you go to botanical gardens or professional gardens, they have large budgets to make their gardens look beautiful 365 days a year. But if you're a normal gardener working on a budget, it is okay to have a seasonal garden, and as time and resources become available for you to fill in plant materials to help the seasons that you really don't have a lot of interest. And so right now, that's kind of where my garden is. I'm adding that winter interest in. As you can see, I've got some evergreens going in. I've got the dwarf nandinas already here that provide year-round red. I've got structural pieces that stay out here year-round. So there are just some things that I'm working on or that I have to make it so it's not a blank slate in the winter. But this is just a typical starting point for most gardens this time of year. So if you look out in your yard or garden and you think, oh, it doesn't look very pretty right now, or why doesn't my garden look like so-and-so's that I watch, on TV? Well, it's because it's not supposed to necessarily. So don't let your garden or my garden be a discouragement to you, because we know within a few weeks, you already saw perennials are poking their heads up out of the ground. This garden is going to come alive, and I'm going to have tons of interest and lots of things to see. And so this video today is going to give you that point of reference if you want to look back, 3 months from now, if you want to look back and be like, what was it like in early March when he showed us when nothing was there, and then looking at it then. I think it's going to be fun for you to see that. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave those down below. I will do my best to answer them as I can. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. It helps me out, and it helps YouTube algorithms put me out there for others. And don't forget, you can also share my channel with friends and family, people you think might be interested in seeing what's going on here at the Horticulture Geek Gardens. So again, I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for tuning in for this tour and for this video. But until next time, guys, from my garden to yours, I wish you all the best and happy gardening.